and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. It's so funny because I always forget to record too.
So
bad.
I remembered just at the last minute, so that's good, right?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. I can find can you guys see my screen? Okay, cool. I'm not going to make it a full size just because I like to see you guys. Okay, so I'm going to talk about tracking systems and how to work smarter, not harder. First, I'm going to go into my background a little bit, just so you guys can, learn a little bit about me and how I got into this business and where I'm at now. So when I started coaching, I was working 3 jobs. I was a single mom. I was finishing college still, taking care of my sick mom at the time too. She was going through a bunch of chemo, and I was just in a depressed time and busy as hell, as you can tell with all that going on. And, taking care of my mom and being a mom myself too, to a young child, on top of working 3 jobs, finishing college, getting good grades, because it's not like high school. Like, you really have to, pay attention and really get those good grades in college. And so I was just insanely busy. So I literally only put 20 minutes a day into my business. At the time, I was just really kind of depressed just because I wasn't really happy with myself at all. As a mom, I just had, that dreaded mommy tummy, I like to call it, saggy skin. I had stretch marks. I wasn't large ever. I was always fairly small. But I just wasn't happy with myself at all. I had no confidence. So I basically just jumped in as a discount coach just because I wanted a discount on one of my workouts. I didn't even get Shakeology at all. I didn't think I needed it. I honestly didn't even know what the heck it was. So I just wanted a discount on my workouts, and I just wanted to start taking care of me, so I can start being a better mom overall and just be happier in life. So that's how I got into coaching. And so a few months later, I figured out that I really wanted to jump full force into this business and really do something out of it, just because I was just tired of working so many jobs, tired living paycheck to paycheck, tired of going into, Target and literally tallying up everything because, maybe you only have $15 to spend. I was just tired of all of that and just tired of never seeing my son. I would never got to take him to school or put him to bed or any of that just because I was constantly working. So when I decided I wanted to jump full force into this business, I literally only put 20 minutes a day into my business, but I was consistent with it. So I did it
the way I'll deal with it
every day.
Thank you.
Oh. I did it every day. So even if you just put 15, 20 minutes into your business because maybe you're just too busy right now, if you do that same, amount of time every day and you're consistent with it, it'll definitely get you somewhere. At the time, I tracked all on paper. It was just easier for me, and I'll go more into that too. And now, within 14 months of figuring out that I really wanted to jump into this business, I was able to fire all of my bosses. I have worked from home since last July. It was July 2nd of last year. I finally quit all my jobs, and I've been working from home since then. And it's just been awesome. It's been awesome, being home with, my family, doing what I want when I want. But I realized too that tracking was huge in this business, because before I really didn't track much. I did a little bit on paper, but I didn't track everything, and I didn't really have a process going on. So I realized once I, became full-time at home, they really had to come up with this whole tracking system for myself too. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys. So first, I'm going to talk about the BAT that I fill out, because I know everyone's different. So what I do is not going to work for everyone. So I've kind of dabbled with everything. So I'm going to share what I have done that worked for me too. So the BAT is more of a paper. So if you're a paper type person, I suggest doing something like this. So I fill this out every week. It's basically my to-do list. And on the back of it, so I have it right here too. So on the back of it, that's where I'll track all of my combos. So if you're a paper person, do it right on the back of this. So I print it out every week. And what I have on here is, you're tracking, you did your workout, you drank your Shakeology, read your personal development, did all of your social media posts that you need to do, checked your back office, checked into all your Facebook groups that you have going on, whether it's, groups that you're running or training groups or whatever it may be, team calls, 3 to 5 new friend requests, new engagements, which are comments on posts, new conversations, which are non-Beachbody related, just starting up a conversation, building up a relationship, new challenge group invites, coaching opportunity invites, and follow-ups. So I try to do all this in one day. Sometimes it does get overwhelming for me to do all of that. So sometimes I'll even break it up. So maybe like Mondays, I'll just focus on maybe just invites and new friend requests. And then Tuesdays, I'll focus on follow-ups or something like that. So if it is too overwhelming for you, just break it up into days. You don't have to do all those things in one day either. Whatever works for you works for you. And so underneath it, I have my combo tracker too. So that's where I kind of just put tally marks. So under like new engagements, which are comments on posts, I'll just tally mark every time, I comment on somebody's post. And I'll do that for everything right there. And then all the boxes on the outside, I only fill those out on Thursdays. So every Thursday I print a new one, and every Thursday I fill out those boxes on the outside just because I like to track everything every week. So I like to track up on the top right side all my totals. So how many total for the week that I've, new friend requests, new engagements, invites, follow-ups, all that stuff. My income for the week, my Success Club points, my team volume, and my team rank, my coach rank, and my rank advancement goal. I like to fill all this out just because I staple them all together, and I like to keep them because if I feel like I struggled maybe like last month, I'll look through these papers and I'll just, say, okay, I didn't invite as many people. I didn't talk to as many new people. I didn't, friend request enough people to keep building up my business. So you can kind of just go back and just figure out where you slacked and where you need to pick up. So I love that about tracking, what you do every week. And then I'm going to go into my Excel combo tracker, which is what I shared on the call that Katie was talking about. This is kind of a process that I have going on. I'm actually going to bring up the actual one of it so you can see it. Okay. Make it a little bigger here. Okay, so it looks a little overwhelming, but I kind of have this whole little process going on here. So my first column is new contacts, which are new friend requests. So that's where I put everyone that I have friend requested, and they accepted it. And then new engagements are people that I comment on their post. Non-Beachbody combo started, that's just anything non-Beachbody related, just to start up, a conversation. And challenge group invites, coaching opportunity invites, and then follow-ups. So my process that I have going on here is that I will friend request somebody, and then once they accept it, I'll add them to the list. I will then, maybe give it a day, or sometimes I'll do it right away. But then I will go through their page and I will comment on one of their posts, or maybe a couple posts, but at least one post. So then I move them over to my new engagements column. So then after, a day or so, maybe sometimes a week, it just depends, then I will start a non-Beachbody related combo with that person. So then I'll move them to that column. And I'll just go through their, page and just pick out anything. Sometimes it's just, maybe I saw a bikini that they're wearing in one of their pictures, and I'll just say, hey, I saw you were wearing this bikini. I loved it. Where'd you get it? Just anything little that you can start up a conversation. And then after that, you can just keep the conversation rolling. And then obviously, depending on how that conversation's going, I'll either move them to a challenge group invite or coaching opportunity invite. And then as you can see, I have the dates next to it too. So the dates just mean the last time I talked to that person. So if I'm, you know, 'cause sometimes I get stuck in my business where I'm like, okay, I have to, you know, comment on some people's posts. So and sometimes you're just like, who am I going to comment on their post? And you're scrolling through Facebook and then you're just looking at everyone's reality TV show on Facebook. You get stuck in it. I do that all the time. So I'll just bring this form up and just say, okay, I haven't talked to this person since January. So you can just pick them out and just say you want to do 10 of them. You have 10 right here. Just do 10 of those right there and move them on to, you know, your non-Beachbody combos too. So that's why I like to have that date. So then you know how long it's been, because you obviously don't want to do it too soon too, and, you know, be up their butts. So I'd love to have that date just to, you know, track when you talked to them last. And under follow-ups, I have a 3 follow-up rule. So, sorry, my Siri likes to go crazy when I'm talking. So I have a 3 follow-up rule. I'll follow up with them once. Sometimes they get back to me, I'll follow up with them again. I'll follow up a third time. After the third time, if they still don't get back to me or still continue to, you know, beat around the bush or ignore me or whatever it may be, that's when I'll just leave it alone for a little bit and I'll move them through the process again. So after they ignore me for a while or beat around the bush, I'll just go into commenting on their posts again. Then maybe a little while after, starting a new conversation up again. And then depending on the conversation, inviting them again. Because if you keep building that relationship up, sometimes people just need to really trust you and it takes time. I've had a girl that I talked to for 2 years about coaching. And she literally just signed up to coach, I think maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And she has been a rock star. She has hit Success Club like 15 or higher every month since she's joined. And it was just insane, but it was worth it for that 2 years of building that relationship up with her. She just needed to, you know, learn more about the business and trust you or trust me. So building that relationship up, and even if you're just going through that process 2, 3 times, 4 times, maybe, you know, 10 times like I did with her, it's worth it, and just keep doing that. And that's why it's really nice to be able to track that too, because if you're just free-for-alling and just picking anyone out of your Facebook, it's really hard because then you're not talking to that person forever. Sometimes they get lost. Sometimes I'll go through my friends and, you know, click on message and I see that I haven't talked to them or followed up with them in forever and they signed up with somebody else. That's them getting lost because you didn't track it and you didn't pay attention to that. So I definitely strongly suggest tracking all that stuff. And then my color highlights I have here, I just have little things here that were, the red was just for, that they said they were going to order after the holiday. I think this was around Christmas. So having those highlighted areas where when you look at this, it's like, okay, I need to follow up that person. It just sticks out to you. It's really good to have those. And then I had blue for people that said they were ordering now. That way, again, when you go back to this, you're alerted, you know, okay, this person said they were ordering the other day. I need to follow up with them, because if they say they're ordering and you fail to follow up with them and they don't order, then you're probably just going to lose them altogether. So it's really good to do that. Let's see. Down here too, I have a little area for future possibilities, and that's just people who I've talked to and they said that, you know, they want to join one of my groups maybe next month or in a couple of months or after summer, something like that. There's always people that tell you that just because they have so much going on. So I like to keep track of those people too. So right next to it, I'll write whether they were interested in coaching or a challenger. So that way, again, like when maybe you're stuck or something, you can go back, go through these and, you know, say, okay, I need to follow up with this person that's been, and honestly, I should have a note here, right, too, maybe, because honestly, I didn't even know what it was or when it was. So I should have a date here and I should have a note to track it better. And then my no answers, these were all the people that told me no, they were not interested at all. I like to keep track of them because eventually, after it's been a while, I'm just going to bring them through my process again and just keep building that relationship up. And then my ordered down here, I like to have an area for ordered. I haven't used this form in a little bit. I'm going to show you why too in the next slides, but so this is who I have who's ordered. I like to put their name, their date that they ordered, just because I like to contact them before the 30 days is up, just to let them know, hey, you know, your Shakeology is going to be coming out, just so you know. And that way, if they're not a discount coach too or a coach, I can also, you know, approach that too. So I like to put that in there, the date, and also if they're a coach or a challenger. So my challengers are highlighted in red because that just alerts me that they are a challenger, and I have the opportunity to also, you know, help them with signing up as either a discount coach or a working coach too. So I love having the color-coded, you know, things that you can just, it pops out right at you so you know to follow up with them right away. So that's my Excel form. Let me go back here. Let's see. And then apps to check out. Like I said, I stopped using that form a little bit just because I kind of go back and forth. So I've been doing a little bit on my whiteboard over here more now. I still do, I do it on paper still, and I still do the form a little bit. I'm kind of all over the place right now just because I'm dabbling with different things at the moment. But apps to check out, which I've been checking out more because I think they're really awesome, because like with my Excel form, you can't do it on your phone. So like I can't go to my phone and bring that form up and, you know, it updates both of them. And I hate that about it because I do work on my phone a lot more now too. So this one here, Streak, if you go to streak.com, it's connected right to your email, and it has an app too. So you can, it's basically everything I do in my Excel form through your email. And then you can also do it right from your phone too, from the app, and they integrate with each other so you don't have to update one and then also update the other. So I love that about that. And it also alerts you to, you can have reminders in there to remind you to follow up with somebody on this date or what it was about and little notes. So it's basically all my Excel form right in your email, which I love that about that. So if you're definitely not, you know, a paper person and you need that, that's definitely something to check out. And I realize I put Streak on both of those. This is not Streak, this is TeamZ. So it's teamz.com, teamzy.com. This is basically almost the same thing as the Streak, except for it's not connected to your email. It has its own portal that you log info into. So it's basically just a website you go to, and there's also an app as well. So they're both, you know, together. You don't have to update one and to update the other. They both update each other. But it's basically the same thing. You put all your contacts in there. It'll alert you, you know, when you need to follow up with somebody, all of that, prospects that you need to contact. The other thing I like about it too, I don't have the picture for it on here, but on the dashboard, it'll kind of, oh, actually it does on here. So on the dashboard, it has like today's activities, 4 prospects left. So it tells you how many people that you have left that you need to contact. So it lets you put your goals in there. So say you want to contact maybe 10 or 20 people a day. You put those different goals in there, and it'll tell you how many you have left. So this says you have 4 prospects left, 3 customers left to contact, 4 coaches left, 1 invite that you need to get done before the day's over, and 1 new add-on, which is like a friend request. So that's what I like about that too, because you can kind of see your progress of it, and then you can go into it and say, okay, excuse me, today before the day's over, I need to do this, 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 and that. So I love that about that too, and it also gives you those alerts as well, not only on here, but on the app too, to follow up with those people too. And I think too, it'll alert you saying that you have, you know, this many invites left to do today. So I love that about that. Let me stop sharing here. And that is really all that I have for you guys for that.
Thank you. That was awesome. I mean, maybe I'll open it up for questions. If you have questions, you guys can unmute yourself and ask. I just have to say a couple of like my big takeaways. And it's always good to hear from other people too. you lose people if you're not tracking. And I mean, I'm like the perfect case for that, because for a long time I didn't track. I have a really good memory, and I'm like, oh, I got a good memory. I go back through my Facebook messages and my messenger, but that's just not effective. And I was constantly trying to go back and see where I left off on the conversation, and you forget people. And even if you're just starting out and you feel you don't have a lot of contacts, I think it's really good to get a system down. That TeamZ, I've heard that a lot. I haven't checked it out. I'm like old-fashioned, like pen and paper, which I know there's nothing wrong with that, but I see like that Excel or like the streak she mentioned, and how cool would it be to have that set up, and you could, I love the columns with the dates and everything. I think that's easy to see and look at. So
yeah,
anyways.
it's so much easier too, because with my paper and pen, I'm like, okay, gotta get my paper out and write down this person's name. That's what I hated about that, because I really like, I'm kind of a paper person too.
I know I am too. I don't know, but I agree. Like it's same with like if you're looking back to try to connect with people, you're looking back through all these sheets. I think it's just easier to have it on computer.
The only thing too about those two at the end too is that you have to pay a monthly fee for them.
Mm-hmm.
I like free things, so I found another one too that I actually recently just found, and it's an app, and it's called Cloze. Cloze.
Okay.
And you can download it right on your phone, and that is completely free. And it's basically the exactly same thing as those two things too.
All right, I'll have to check that one out too. Cool. Yeah. It is nice to be able to work from your phone too. I agree. I do a lot on my phone.
Mm-hmm. Especially on the go.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I know. And sometimes you can't help it. It's nice to sit down and have that scheduled time to do it, but sometimes you're on the go sending messages.
Mm-hmm.
Who has questions? This is like really my weak spot. So if you have questions, this is a really good time to ask. Anyone? Feel free to unmute yourselves.
I gave a lot of overwhelming information.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was that form that you used? Did you create that, or is that is that similar to the business activity tracker that's in our back office?
It is similar, but it is one. Another coach actually created it, and I kind of just copied it.
Okay.
Just because the Beachbody one is just too overwhelming for me. It just has so much going on, so I never ever filled it out.
Yeah.
So once I created this, though, it's just more simplified, and I can actually send it to Katie for you guys too.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's always funny to see what works for people and what you know what I mean. Everyone likes to have it. Some people I know like to have everything on one sheet, and so cool. That would be awesome. Thank you. Good question, Danielle. Anyone else? No one else has questions? All right, I'll ask one more question. Where do you mostly get your new contacts from, your new friend requests, that kind of stuff?
Like where do I send them out?
Okay. Yeah, where do you, I know that this is a struggle for a lot of new coaches, and in that first column you talked about, I think it was in your Excel, you talked about new contacts, friend requests, that kind of stuff. Do you have any strategies that you use in doing that?
Yes, I actually have a couple. On Facebook, I do this every day, and actually I ask my son for a state. So I'll ask him to give me a state. And so in the search box on top of Facebook, I'll just write women under 35 in California. Any state like that, and it'll come up with a ton of people. And I'll just go through them real quick and just make sure we don't have a ton of friends in common, especially coaches that I know that are coaches. And then I'll just go through and just add them as a friend on there. So it's super easy, super quick. And then if you're on Instagram, what I've been doing that I really like is that I'll go to some fitness people's pages, or so like right now I'm obsessed with Heidi Summers. She's like this huge fitness girl. She's got like millions of followers. So I'll go to pages like that, and I'll just go through all the people that follow her, and I'll just start following them, because if you start following them, they're going to follow you and then be interested in what you're doing. And I like to do that too, because those people are already into fitness, or they need motivation or something like that. And that's why they're following, these big fitness people. So I've been doing that on Instagram too.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Both new two things that I don't do. So I hope you guys wrote that down. Especially my Instagram people. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Bev, you're trying to ask a question. You're unmuted. Go ahead and talk, and let me see if we can hear you. No, let me see. You're on the phone too. Let me see if I can unmute the phone people. I'm not sure which one is you, but I'll unmute both. You want to try now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So my question is this. You have a lot of information about the different people that you've talked to in different places. How have you successfully tracked maybe some details about those people that you want to remember? Because you've met so many people, but you might come across a story or something that you want to remember that if you think you might need to share it or it was interesting or something to that effect. How have you successfully tracked some of those details?
Because I'm all over the place, as you guys can kind of see, I'm still doing a little bit of paper, whiteboard, all that.
Right.
So on my paper, I like to make note of what we talked about that stuck out to me. But if you're going to do like the Excel form or something of that form, I would just add a note in there, what you talked about, what stuck out to you, maybe their goals, if they're a mom, any of that stuff that you want to remember, or maybe if they just had like a huge surgery or something and you want to remember things like that, just make a note next to their name.
Okay.
That's a good question. I think that one app we talked about, was it that notifies you? Was it Teamsy?
Yeah.
That notifies you. I mean, that might be a good one for if you want to follow up with them, like if they did have a surgery and you want to follow up with them in 3 months, or if they're having a baby and they're like, after I have my baby, or after Christmas or whatever. Right. I don't know. That's a good question.
Those apps are really nice too, because you can upload your Facebook friends onto it already too. So you don't have to go through and add all of your contacts. I mean, you do have to take time to go through it and just wean out the ones that you're not talking to, but you can just upload them all right on there too.
That's very cool. So much technology I need to learn. Diane says you can add a note by right-clicking in a cell too. I'm trying close, but she just started. Good tip. Yeah. Cool. Good questions, guys. Anyone else? Have anything?
My coaches never have any questions. So I like you guys.
I know it's fun when you get a couple questions. No one else has anything? Anyone? All right. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for sharing all this stuff with us. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys all for getting on. I know it's hard sometimes to find the time at night to jump on a call, so I appreciate it. All right. Well, have a good night, and I will see you on Facebook.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Night.